Imagine standing on a Japanese highway in the dead of night back in 1999. The sound you hear isn't a common engine, it's the sharp hiss of twin turbines building pressure, followed by a roar that feels organic, almost alive. You probably think you know this car. Pop culture, video games, and Hollywood cinema sold you a specific image. A blue icon with round taillights dominating the simplified version for the masses. The truth that most enthusiasts ignore is that the Skyline wasn't born to be a movie star. It was born from a company that wasn't even called Nissan. Forged through a technical desk models, we aren't going to dissect the hidden engineering, the forbidden victories, and the great Japanese lie that allowed the Skyline as the king. You need to stop looking at the genetic code of a legend that school would never explain to you. Level 1. The clandestine genetics. To understand the Skyline, we have to go back to 1966. Before it wore the Nissan badge, the Skyline was the pride of the Prince Motor Company. Prince wasn't a mass manufacturer. It was a group of engineers obsessed with fighter jets who decided to apply aeronautical aerodynamics and precision to four wheels.
When Nissan absorbed Prince in a strategic merger, they didn't just inherit a luxury sedan. They inherited a seed of rebellion. The goal was clear: humiliate Porsche on Japanese soil. This is where the GTR concept began to be drawn in the dark. The Skyline wasn't supposed to be an affordable sports car. It was from day one a tool of technological warfare destined to prove that Japan could out-engineer the West.
This is the foundation for everything that follows. The Skyline isn't a modified car. It is a race car that was authorized to drive on the streets. We now open the first page of our technical catalog, the Hakosuka, code KPGC10, from 1969. The name means box of metal, but its soul was the S20 engine. This straight 6-unit featured 24 valves and dual overhead cams, something that Hakosuka had: no turbo, no all-wheel drive, and no electronics. It was just raw metal and 160 horsepower of pure mechanical power.
Its impact was immediate. 49 consecutive victories in national competitions. It didn't win by luck. It won because its chassis was stiffer and its engine breathed better than any rival. We move to the rarest model in this catalog, the Kenmari. Produced in 1993, only 1997 GTR units were manufactured before the oil crisis forced Nissan to pull the model from the market. Today, this is the holy grail. If you see a genuine Kenmari, you are looking at a piece of history that survived extinction. After a hiatus of more than a decade, where the Skyline became a common sedan, we enter the era of the Iron Mask, the 30 and R31. Here, Nissan began experimenting with turbos, paving the way for the resurrection of the god. Level 3. Digital domination. In 1989, Nissan launched the R32 GTR, and the world of motorsport was never the same. This was where the ETS system was born. While other all-wheel drive systems were heavy and slow, the R32's electronics could send up to 50% of the torque to the front wheels in milliseconds, but only when necessary. Most of the time, it behaved like a rear-wheel drive car, maintaining agility, but gaining the traction of a tank when exiting corners. In Australia, its superiority was so absurd that the local press nicknamed it Godzilla, the monster that came from the sea to devour the competition. It wasn't just a competitor, it was the end of competition. The R32 won all 29 races of the Japanese championship it entered. It destroyed the Group A class so thoroughly that the category was eventually cancelled, because no one could keep up with Nissan's pace. We move forward in the catalog to the R33, often underestimated and called the boat for being larger. The R33 was actually the first production car to lap the Nürburgring in under 8 minutes. It fixed the R32's stability flaws and introduced a more refined, super high-gas four-wheel steering system. If the R32 was the street fighter, the R33 was the Olympic athlete, more balanced, more technical, and focused on high-speed stability. We reached the most coveted page, The R34 GTR. Launched in 1999, this car was the pinnacle of the analog-digital era. Its differentiator wasn't just the RB26 DET cast iron engine, capable of handling absurd power with minimal modifications. The real secret lay in the MFD, the multifunction display at the top of the dashboard. In an era when cell phones barely had color screens, the R34 showed G-forces, boost pressure, and injector efficiency in real time. It was the first car to treat driving as data processing. The R34 wasn't just fast, it was intelligent. It read the road, adjusted the differentials, and allowed an average driver to feel like a professional pilot. It is the perfect balance between raw mechanics and computer assistance. But now, we reach the central point of this catalog that few channels have the courage to detail. The gentleman's agreement. If you look at the official spec sheet for any 90s Skyline GTR, you will see a constant number. 280 horsepower. Why? Because the Japanese government, fearing a speed war on the streets, imposed a power limit on manufacturers, but Nissan did something brilliant and subversive. They registered the car with 280 horsepower in official documents, but in reality, many R34s left the factory with 330 real horsepower. They created a monster and put a paper leash on it. The engine was deliberately restricted by simple components that any enthusiast could remove in minutes. Nissan wasn't selling a 280 horsepower car. They were selling a 1,000 horsepower platform disguised as a passenger vehicle. It was this institutionalized lie that allowed the Skyline to become the tuning legend we know today.
The Nissan Skyline isn't just a catalog of technical specifications. It is a catalog of human resistance against bureaucracy. It proves that engineering, when driven by pure obsession, can find loopholes in laws and physical limitations to create something eternal.
Owning or admiring a Skyline today isn't about showing off or being the fastest at a traffic light. It's about owning a piece of an era where cars had secrets, and where the connection between man and machine was measured in bits and torque.
The Skyline is the last of the technological samurais. If you had the chance to keep just one of these keys in your pocket, knowing the future is electric and silent, which of these generations would you choose to preserve the roar of the engine? The Skyline is not just metal and rubber. It is a symbol that reality can sometimes be much more exciting than what the movies lead us to believe.
What is your level of obsession? Leave a comment about which generation in this catalog defines your passion.